Environmental Degradation by Brittney Columbus and Shyla. Environmental degradation.
About environmental degradation. Environmental degradation is a deterioration of the environment through loss of soil, air, water, along with the destruction of ecosystems and extinction of wildlife. It has to do with water deterioration, climate change, and temperature, along with precipitation, population growth, agriculture, and water management.
Effects on quality of life and responses of citizens. Environmental degradation is a major threat to human life because it is creating a loss of water and extinction of wildlife, which is also a loss of food sources for some people. Pollution is a major threat to clean air and water sources. Therefore, in some cases with environmental degradation, human life is threatened and human rights protection is needed. The protection of the environment may weigh on many human rights, but most directly affects of rights that protect the integrity of people and their surroundings. How societies and individuals respond to these challenges will depend upon their beliefs and collective actions.
Role and responsibilities of individuals and organizations. Some organizations are the CIDA, the Canadian International Development Agency, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. All these organizations aim to help in less developed countries and other countries facing environmental degradation by community conservation, safe water, and enhanced management of natural resources. They donate thousands of dollars to protect rights and environment. Citizens can also play an important role in stopping this issue, and there's many things you can do.
Economic effects and decision making on environmental degradation.
Climate change in temperature and precipitation. Climate change affects the Earth's water supply in a large number of ways. It is predicted that in the coming years, due to a number of forces affecting the planet, the amount of atmospheric C2O will rise, and both of these will influence water resources and can cause acid rain. A rise in air temperature results in a rise in water temperature, which is also very significant in water degradation, as the water would become more susceptible to bacterial growth. A rise in global temperatures is also predicted to relate with an increase in global precipitation and a decline in water quality, but because of increased water runoff rates and rates of soil erosion, floods, and mass flood of land. Although water will carry more nutrients, it will also carry more contaminants.
Water deterioration. Water deterioration. Approximately 2.5 of all of the water on Earth is fresh water, with the rest being salt water. 69% of the fresh water is frozen in ice caps located on Antarctica and Greenland, so only 30% of the 2.5 of fresh water is available for consumption. It is estimated that 1 in 3 people over the entire globe are already facing water shortages. Almost 1/5 of the world's population live in areas of physical water scarcity, and almost 1/4 of the world's population live in a developing country that lacks the necessary infrastructure to use water from available rivers and aquifers. Water scarcity is an increasing problem due to many foreseen issues in the future, including population growth, increased urbanization, higher standards of living, and climate change.
Agriculture. Agriculture is dependent on available soil moisture, which is directly affected by climate dynamics, with precipitation being in the inputs in the system and various processes being the output, such as transportation, surface runoff, drainage, and percolation into groundwater. Changes in the climate, especially changes in precipitation and evapotranspiration predicted by climate models, will directly affect soil moisture, surface runoff, and groundwater recharge.
Population growth. Population is an important source of development, yet it is a major source of environmental degradation. When it exceeds the limits of the support system, population impacts on the environment mostly through the use of natural resources and production of wastes. Population growth is also associated with environmental stress like loss of biodiversity, air and water pollution, and increased pressure on farmable land.
Forest destruction, human suffering, atmospheric pollution, congested human habitation, solid waste, water pollution, and toxic waste.
Political decision-making and environmental degradation.
Environment decisions and responses. Over the last 5 years, the government and the Canadian International Development Agency spent a total of approximately $725 million on environmental sustainability and $238.4 million to the Global Environment Facility between 2010 and 2014, with an annual spending of $20 million for biodiversity. CIDA and the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development are working to improve the integration of environmental considerations into development planning and decision-making, especially through tools like strategic economic assessment. The Government of Canada says it will continue to demonstrate leadership in establishing environmental standards, virtually eliminating the most persistent and bioaccumulative toxic substances, and control and manage pollutants and waste if they release into the environment cannot be prevented.
Uh-oh. What and who does this issue affect the most? It would affect the human race because we're losing air and water to pollution. Some people are losing food sources by extinction of wildlife. Okay, some people are losing food sources by extinction of wildlife. Loss of land because deterioration of soil and expanding factories.
How can you take action in our opinion? You can ride your bike, take the transit, walk, don't pollute the air, recycle, reduce, reuse, use less electricity in your home, and take shorter showers, and carpool with people if you're going to the same place at the same time. Our opinion is that environmental degradation is an ongoing issue caused by many sources, and human activities being the main one, and we think that changing one source of pollution that you create every day can help stop it. We can create groups to help stop the issue. Reduce, reuse, recycle.
Conclusion. In conclusion, environmental degradation is an ongoing problem that needs to be stopped. It causes a decrease in our economy, and the government needs more involvement. There are many ways to prevent it for further generations.
Sources.
Ta-da!